ladies and gentlemen, we'll go ahead and get the meeting called to order. I want to thank everybody for being here. I know we've got a big crowd here with us tonight. We're excited to actually participate in a swearing in for all of the elected county officials that will be taking office either for their second terms or for their first term. So we're excited to get to do that as a group tonight. I will say we're going to do the swearing in at the first part of the meeting. We'd love to encourage people to stay. I know that there's some families that may need to sneak away. We joked that there is an item on the agenda that deals with the salaries of elected officials, so maybe that was the way everybody would stay for the meeting for the first time. But we also understand that it is a crowded room and that some may need to depart when we get finished with that item. We'll open up the meeting. I'll lead us with an invocation, and then following that, I'm going to have Commissioner Pickens lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we will turn the floor over to the judges to begin the swearing in. So if you join me in a prayer, we'll launch off that way. Father, we thank you as we come here at the end of the year and as we're celebrating a season where we celebrate you coming and rescuing us. We're just so thankful that we live in a community that still puts you first. We're thankful that we have a chance to be here tonight as we all take on an oath to prepare to serve and to continue to serve our communities. And God, we just ask you to be with us tonight, to be with our families, to be with each and every man and woman that are serving our community and our nation, to keep them safe, to just help fill us with a spirit of hope and joy as we go through this season, and of peace as we move through this season over the next few weeks, that be something that we carry over into 2025. God, we thank you for everything. We ask you to give us wisdom in all the decisions that we make and be with us throughout the night. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So at this time, I'm going to ask Judge Weaver and Judge Lindsay if they'll come up and let them take over the swearing in portion.
Yeah, you'll be right there, and we'll say this.
You know, Mr. Stenson, when you were talking about the number of swearing ins, I've probably been sworn at more than any other, both literally and figuratively, than any other public official in this. I was looking at my Bible that was a gift to me by my husband, and it looks like I was first used it on April 2nd, 1996. So I'm trying to figure out how many terms that would be. And it said he presented it to me for the sole reason that I was the mother of his children. Not that he loved me, but that I had the task of being the mother of his children. And so those of you that knew George certainly could just hear him say it. Oh, yeah. David Lindsay. How long have I had known David Lindsay? Let's see.
Probably too long for your liking.
Too long. And it's always been true that I like your wife a lot better.
That makes a lot of sense.
But I think I first swore you in many years ago. Maybe as an attorney even.
1996 as an attorney, yes. Mm-hmm.
So David and I have been swearing at each other a long period of time. All right, so if you will, put your left hand on and raise your right hand. And please state your name.
David Lindsay.
Do swear or affirm that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the judge of the probate court for the county of Pickens during my continuation in office, according to the law, to the best of my knowledge and ability, without favor or affection to any party, and that I will receive only my legal fees. I do further solemnly swear or affirm that I'm not the holder of any unaccounted for public money due the state, or of any political subdivision or authority thereof, that I'm not the holder of any office of trust under the government of the United States, any other state, or any foreign state which I am prohibited from holding by the laws of the state of Georgia, and that I'm otherwise qualified to hold said office according to the Constitution of the United States and the laws of Georgia and the Constitution of the state of Georgia, and that I will fully support the constitutions of the United States and of this state. So help me God, and if you so swear or affirm, please state I do.
I do.
All right. And in addition, let me give you what's called the loyalty oath. I, please state your name,
David Lindsay,
a citizen of the state of Georgia and being an employee of Pickens County and the recipient of public funds for services rendered as such employee, do hereby solemnly swear and affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of Georgia, so help me God. And if you so swear or affirm, please state I do.
I do.
Congratulations. Dennis, and do both of these.
And look, now it's Judge Weaver's turn to be sworn at. This young man, who's this young man?
It's your family on the screen.
Okay. All right, be prepared. If you'll raise your right hand, place your left hand on the Bible. I, and state your name.
I, Brenda S. Weaver,
A citizen of the state of Georgia and being an employee of the state of Georgia and recipient of public funds for services rendered as such employee, do hereby solemnly swear and affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of Georgia. I do further swear that I will administer justice without respect of person and do equal rights to the poor and the rich. That I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all the duties incumbent upon me as the judge of the superior courts of this state, according to the best of my ability and understanding, and agreeably to the laws of the Constitution of this state and the Constitution of the United States. I do further solemnly swear and affirm that I am not the holder of any unaccounted for public money due this state or any political subdivision or authority thereof, and that I am not the holder of any office of trust under the government of the United States, nor of any other several states, nor of any foreign state, and that I am otherwise qualified to hold said office according to the Constitution and the laws of Georgia, and I will support the constitutions of the United States of this state, and that I have been a resident of the circuit for the time required by the Constitution and the laws of this state, so help me God, if you will, say I do.
I do.
I the loyalty oath. I, and state your name,
Brenda S. Weaver,
citizen of the state of Georgia and being an employee of the state of Georgia and the recipient of public funds for services rendered as such employee, do hereby solemnly swear and affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of Georgia, so help me God, if you will, say I do.
I do.
Congratulations, Judge.
You know, Mr. Sampson, the first time I took this oath, the governor made me repeat all of that.
All right, I've just got the rest of these in alphabetical order, and by the way, I can't stand up without speaking for a moment. That's what a judge or a politician can't do. I just want to say before we go on with the rest of these, that this group of public officials that we are swearing in tonight is I can't say enough about them and how wonderful it is to work with them. Each of these folks has the citizens of Pickens County and they want the best for this county and the best for the citizens. That's what they have in their heart. They're not out for personal gain or personal aggrandizement. And I just wanted to thank every single one of them for their service and for stepping up to the task of serving the public. I get a chance to go to a lot of other counties and visit a lot of other meetings, and it's not like that everywhere, I can promise you that. Sheriff Craig. I, and state your name,
Donald Gray.
do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute all writs, warrants, precepts, and processes directed to me as sheriff of this county, or which are directed to the sheriffs of this state or any other state sheriff specifically, which I can lawfully execute and true returns make in all things well and truly made, without malice or partiality, perform the duties of the office of sheriff, Pickens County during my continuance therein, and take only my lawful fees. I do further solemnly swear or affirm that I am not the holder of any unaccounted for public money due this state, or any political subdivision or authority thereof, that I am not the holder of any office of trust under the government of the United States, any other state, or any foreign state which I am prohibited from holding by the laws of the state of Georgia, and that I am otherwise qualified to hold said office according to the Constitution of the United States and the laws of Georgia, and I will support the constitutions of the United States and of this state. So help me God, if you will, say I will.
I will.
And the loyalty oath. I, and state your name,
Donald Gray.
a citizen of the state of Georgia and being an employee of Pickens County and the recipient of public funds for services rendered as such employee, do hereby solemnly swear and affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of Georgia. So help me God, if you will, say I will. I will. Very good. Congratulations, Sheriff. Jennifer Jordan. Raise what you feel. Raise your right hand, place your left hand on the Bible, please. There you go. I, and state your name,
Jennifer Edwards Jordan.
do swear or affirm that I will well and faithfully enter and record all the orders, decrees, and judgments and other proceedings of the Superior Court of Pickens County and all other things and matters which by law ought me to be recorded, and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all the duties required of me to the best of my understanding. I do further solemnly swear or affirm that I am not the holder of any unaccounted for public money due this state, or any political subdivision or authority thereof, that I am not the holder of any office of trust under the government of the United States, any other state, or any foreign state which I am prohibited from holding by the laws of the state of Georgia, and that I am otherwise qualified to hold said office according to the Constitution of the United States and the laws of Georgia, and I will support the constitutions of the United States and of this state. So help me God, if you will, say I do.
I do.
Loyalty oath. I, and state your name,
Jennifer Edwards Jordan.
and being an employee of Pickens County and the recipient of public funds for services rendered as such employee, do hereby solemnly swear and affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of Georgia. So help me God, if you will, say I do.
I do.
Congratulations. Aaron Laura. Hi, Aaron. Let's see. All right, if you'll raise your right hand, place your left hand on the Bible. I, and state your name,
Aaron Moore.
do do swear or affirm that I will well and truly serve the state of Georgia and in said office faithfully and truly execute all writs and precepts to me directed which I may be lawfully executed, and place in my charge and return the same according to the best of my knowledge, skill, and judgment, and that I will in no case use or exercise my office illegally, corruptly, or unjustly, and that I will not under any pretense take, accept, or enjoy any fee or reward pertaining to my office other than such as are allowed by law, but that I will, in all things touching the duties of my office, demean myself honestly, fairly, and impartially to the best of my ability. I do further solemnly swear or affirm that I am not the holder of any unaccounted for public money due this state, or any political subdivision or authority thereof, that I am not the holder of any office of trust under the government of the United States, any other state, or any foreign state which I am prohibited from holding by the laws of the state of Georgia, and that I am otherwise qualified to hold said office according to the Constitution of the United States and the laws of Georgia, and that I'll support the constitutions of the United States and of this state. So help me God, if you will, say I will. Very good. And the royalty oath. I, and state your name.
Aaron Moore.
And being an employee of Pickens County and the recipient of public funds for services rendered as such employee, do hereby solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of Georgia. So help me God, if you will, say I will. Congratulations. Okay. We're gonna do all this tonight.
Will you take? Please.
Yep. Alan Morris. What's that? If you would, raise your right hand and place your left hand on the Bible. I, and state your name,
Alan Morris,
swear or affirm that I will duly and faithfully perform the duties required of me as magistrate of Pickens County. I do further solemnly swear or affirm that I am not the holder of any unaccounted for public money due this state, or any political subdivision or authority thereof, that I am not the holder of any office of trust under the government of the United States, any other state, or any foreign state which I am prohibited from holding by the laws of the state of Georgia, that I am otherwise qualified to hold said office according to the Constitution and the laws of Georgia, and that I will support the constitutions of the United States and of this state, and that I have been a resident of this county for the time required by the Constitution and the laws of this state. If so help me God, if you will, say I will.
I will.
And the loyalty oath. I, and state your name,
Alan Morris,
being a citizen of the state of Georgia and an employee of Pickens County, and the recipient of public funds for services rendered as such employee, do hereby solemnly swear and affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of Georgia. So help me God, if you will, say I will.
I will.
Congratulations. Daniel Reeves. All right, if you'll raise your right hand, place your left hand. I, and state your name. Tax Commissioner of the State of Georgia, County of Pickens, do hereby swear or affirm that I will faithfully discharge the duties required of me by law as Tax Commissioner, and that I will pay over all taxes collected by me as required by law. I do further solemnly swear or affirm that I am not the holder of any unaccounted for public money due this state, or any political subdivision or authority thereof, that I am not the holder of any office of trust under the government of the United States, any other state, or any foreign state which I am prohibited from holding by the laws of the state of Georgia, and that I am otherwise qualified to hold said office according to the Constitution of the United States and the laws of Georgia, and that I will support the constitutions of the United States and of this state, so help me God, if you will, say I will. I, and state your name.
Daniel Reeves,
A citizen of the state of Georgia, and being an employee of Pickens County and the recipient of public funds for services rendered as such employee, do hereby solemnly swear and affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the constitutions of Georgia, so help me God, if you will, say I will. Congratulations. Mr. Stansel. I, and state your name.
Christopher Stanton.
Do swear or affirm that I will well and truly discharge the duties required of me as Commissioner for Pickens County in all matters which require my official action to the best of my knowledge and skill, that I will so act in my judgment and will be the most conducive to the welfare and interests of the entire county. I've been a resident thereof the time required by the Constitution and laws of this state. I do further solemnly swear or affirm that I am not the holder of any unaccounted for public money due this state, or any political subdivision or authority thereof, that I am not the holder of any office of trust under the government of the United States, any other state, or any foreign state which I am prohibited from holding by the laws of the state of Georgia, and that I am otherwise qualified to hold said office according to the Constitution of the United States and the laws of Georgia, and that I will support the constitutions of the United States and of this state. So help me God, if you will say I do.
I do.
We'll let the oath. I, and state your name.
Christopher Stanton.
Being a citizen of the state of Georgia and being an employee of Pickens County and the recipient of public funds for services rendered to such employee, do hereby solemnly swear and affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of Georgia, so help me God. If you will say I do.
I do.
Congratulations. Mr. Tatum. I, and state your name.
Joshua Tatum.
Do swear or affirm that I will well and truly perform and discharge the duties of Commissioner for Pickens County in all matters which require my official action to the best of my knowledge and skill, and that I will so act in my judgment as to be the most conducive to the welfare and best interests of the entire county. I have been a resident thereof for the time required by the Constitution and laws of this state. I do further solemnly swear or affirm that I am not the holder of any unaccounted for public money due this state, or any political subdivision or authority thereof, that I am not the holder of any office of trust under the government of the United States, any other state, or any foreign state which I am prohibited from holding by the laws of the state of Georgia, and that I am otherwise qualified to hold said office according to the Constitution of the United States and the laws of Georgia, and that I will support the constitutions of the United States and of this state, so help me God, if you will say I do.
I do.
I, and state your name.
Joshua Tatum.
A citizen of the state of Georgia and being an employee of Pickens County and the recipient of public funds for services rendered as such employee, do hereby solemnly swear and affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of Georgia, so help me God, if you will say I do.
I do.
Congratulations.
So I know the progress asked that if everyone that just got sworn in, if everybody could come up to the front and have a group picture of everybody that was just sworn in, then we can do that. We're all here. It's weird to have everybody here at the same time. So. Come on up.
You start.
I'll take
Somebody
it.
got it.
I'll stand up front.
Where's Max? Where's Max?
So let's
Put everybody in line.
Let's headed to go.
That's what I was trying to do.
Oh, we all came up here.
Yeah, actually, yeah, that would better there. You can see the cell.
This is how your county officials understand instructions. I want y'all to notice that.
Should we gather?
All right, Dan, you're in charge of telling us where to stand.
Everybody, take about 3 steps in.
Okay.
Steps this way.
Yeah, that,
Yeah,
oh, except for,
but she needs to get in front. Chris, y'all need to switch.
yeah,
Aaron.
yeah, Aaron to the front. Yeah,
Everybody needs.
got on heels.
yeah, that actually looks pretty. I meant the lineup.
All right, everybody look here first. They're looking at you first. Okay. All right, well, I'll do one. Good, thanks.
Thank you. Sorry.
That's all.
I know Judge Lindsay's gonna get with the individuals that need to have deputies that are sworn in so that they make sure that they can get that coordinated. I know that affects the tax commissioner, the coroner, and the sheriff also has to swear in. What do you do? Get that squared away. All right, so we'll move on into the agenda of the item. I know that there's some folks that are trying to move around these out. One thing that we did not do prior to, because we were doing the swearing-in portion, was the approval of the agenda. I do have one amendment to the agenda, and that's under item H, under new business. That's to approve and accept the Georgia Opioid Crisis Abatement Trust Grant. We received that just after the agenda was sent out. So we do have one item for an amendment to the agenda. With that, do I have a motion to approve the amended agenda? Motion to approve. Second. All right. All in favor? Agenda is approved, and we will move on into the remainder of the agenda. We do not have any employee recognitions for the December month. It's always fun to try to keep flowing as if things are chaotically while people are leaving, but we're going to try to keep moving. So we will have employee recognitions in January, so there's no employee recognitions for this month. Under the consent agenda, we do have a proclamation honoring Amelia McIntyre. The Pickens Arts and Culture Alliance had their annual meeting where she was recognized with a proclamation honoring her service to that board. That was done on the 4th of December. So we want to make sure that we place that into the record of the minutes that she was honored. So very, very thankful for that. Before we move into the next item on the agenda, I know this is not an agenda item. Typically, it's when we do the opening and we're getting ready to start the meeting, kind of going over a couple of announcements. There was quite a bit of information that popped up on online regarding water systems in the city of Calhoun and where we purchase our water from and some issues that were there. They have actually published on their website, the city of Calhoun has on their website, where any PFAS filtering systems were put in place, how they monitor it and how they watch it. If you do take a look at that, they are well below any new PFAS levels that were put in place. About 4 years ago, there was a significant change that moved it from 200 down to 4, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. In terms of the count that was allowed to be within a water system, they are below the 4 from the tank that we purchased water from. So want to make sure, just to kind of give a peace of mind and a sense of ease, you can always go to the City of Calhoun's website and look at their monitoring and see where they are monitoring that monthly. I know that there's a lot of people have fun on Facebook. So sometimes they check facts and sometimes they just put what they believe might be true, what they might not believe to be true. But we didn't want that to be something that caused any fear, since that is one of the sources that we do provide water from, and it is safe. So we'll make sure that that is out there for your information. Next item on our agenda is the downzoning public hearing. I'm going to turn the floor over to Charles and let him go through the public hearing portion on the downzone request that we've received.
Good evening. Good evening.
I don't think it's plugged in.
Oh, all right. We have one downzoning case for you tonight. If I may begin by stating that all future developments shall comply with all applicable codes to ensure that all residential structures on the property meet safety regulations to protect the property, the health and the welfare surrounding residents.
Let's go the other way here. There you go.
All right. This application is referenced as RZ-190855. The applicant is Dan Poole on behalf of Poole Farms. The property is located at 7546 Highway 53 East. The request rezoning is from rural residential, RR, or to agriculture, AG. The property is approximately 15 acres. It is also identified as parcel 051-003-003. The applicant intends to combine the parcel with adjoining AG parcel. As you can see, the surrounding area is adjoined with similar zoning of AG zoning. As far as our comprehensive plan and the vision for Pickens County, this character area is identified as Crossroad Community Marble Hill, which allows for low density, single-family residential uses and agricultural related uses as well. And staff has found that this rezoning request, this application does meet the criteria of the vision for Pickens County. Staff's recommendation, the requested rezoning is a reasonable and justified action that serves the interest of both the applicant and the community. Downzoning this tract to agricultural would allow the applicant to combine it with an adjoining AG zone property of 352 acres, also owned by the applicant, identified as parcel 051-003, which encompasses land on both sides of Highway 53 East. The applicant would be able to utilize the land effectively for agricultural purposes, ensuring the area's sustainability and of resources. Staff recommends approval of the downzoning request from rural residential to agricultural for parcel 051-003-003. This recommendation is based on its alignment with agricultural land use objectives, compatibility with surrounding properties, and minimal impact on infrastructure. Do you have any questions?
Question. I know the applicant is present. It is a public hearing, so if there's any additional information that you'd like, you have a chance to share.
Used to be a house on it, there is no longer.
Since the property is near where you
Across the street. So with a public hearing, we always offer equal time for support and opposition. I know it was advertised as a public hearing. If there is anyone that would like to speak on behalf of opposition, you do have an opportunity to speak. With no opposition, then we will close the public hearing portion of the meeting. Charles, thank you for putting that together and presenting it. And it will fall within our agenda when we get to the rezones at the end. So as we go through the rezones, this particular item will be on the agenda at that point as well. So thank you. Moving on from, just making sure we didn't jump around as we did that. Okay. Moving on to that with no old business, we'll move straight into new business. First item under new business is the consideration and approval of the 25 fiscal year budget. I know we've had two separate public hearings that have been done over our last two meetings where the budget has been presented as a balanced budget. The total for the general fund budget is $40,213,437, and that is balanced both on the revenue and expenditures. I know those have been presented before. So with that, I would like to entertain a motion to approve the 2025 budget as it's been presented throughout the last 2 years.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second the motion.
Motion and a second. Any discussion or questions?
Shout out to the finance department. You guys are incredible. It's good work.
You got it? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Budget is approved. Next item on the agenda is the consideration and approval of the fiscal year 2025 property and liability insurance proposals. We did have two separate proposals this year. We have been working with Points North, has been our prior provider. They were able to provide us with their quote for the 2025 season. We also received a quote from the ACCG from their insurance program. ACCG does provide the insurance service for property and liability insurance for 120 of the counties in the state of Georgia. The majority of the metros self-insure. The comparisons were received and have been gone through both finance, human resources, and with the director of administration. They have all reviewed those. I know that you have a copy in your packets that show the difference of the proposed rates. The Points North proposal was for a total of $574,012.12 for the 2025 premium. The proposal from the ACCG, which is kind of split up in a prorated portion, but the annualized contribution, because they renew in July, would be $464,512. That was after Points North came back with a proposal that kind of matched up apples to apples in terms of the services provided. So you can see there's a difference there of about $110,000 that ACCG was below. Following conversations with the staff and the departments that are affected, their recommendation, which would be mine as well, would be to consider the approval of the ACCG as the insurance provider for property and liability insurance for the county for 2025. So with that, I'd like to open up the floor. I'll go ahead and make a motion that we approve the ACCG quote that was provided and ask for a second.
A second.
So we have a motion and a second, and open up the floor for any discussion, questions? With no discussion or questions, all in favor?
Aye.
None opposed. We will move forward with all the documents required to provide to the ACCG and get that rolling. Next item on our agenda is the consideration of adjusting local supplements for constitutional officers and judicial officers. You've got in your packets a resolution that's been prepared. The salary supplements for local elected officials that include sheriff, clerk of the Superior Court, the judge of the probate court, tax commissioner, chief magistrate, and coroner. Salary supplements of said parties range, any supplements that were provided were under the tenure of Commissioner Newton between 2001 and 2004, and they ranged from $2,287 to $3,700. There have been no adjustments to those salaries from a local supplement since that time, so it's been over 20 years, over 21 years actually, since such time. We're authorized statutorily as a board of commissioners to review and look at local supplements for such reasons as those. And the resolution that we have before us would be that the board of commissioners hereby authorize additional annual supplement of $10,000 beginning for the calendar year of 2025 for the sheriff of Pickens County, the Pickens Clerk of Superior Court, the probate judge of Pickens County, the tax commissioner of Pickens County, and the chief magistrate of Pickens County. Also authorizing the salary for coroner to have a minimum established salary of $35,000. I know that salary fluctuates from year to year, and so this supplement would establish a minimum for the position of coroner as well. And hopefully you've had a chance to review that, and with that, I'll ask for a motion that we approve the resolution authorizing the supplement for our local elected officials.
So
A second.
With a move and a second, any discussion or questions? With none, all in favor?
Aye.
With none opposed, we'll get that processed. This one requires a signature of all three. Pass that one over. Also noted, that was something that was factored into the budget. It's already been approved, so we're not going to have to make any kind of a budget. That was a consideration that was factored in as it was presented. Next item on our agenda is consideration and approval of the ACCG First Responder PTSD program. In 2024, the state legislature approved a new law that required PTSD coverage to be provided for all public safety employees. This is for all first responders, including jailers, dispatchers, law enforcement, and fire and EMS personnel as well. The proposal that we have is through the ACCG's First Responder PTSD proposal program. There's a minimum, if you look on the quote on the for components 1 and 2, it's a lump sum payment from the county that would be $35,739 that would be required for the minimal benefits, which is a $1,500 benefit. For less than $2,500 difference, which is a total of $38,144, that actually increases that benefit amount up to $5,000. I know after speaking with staff, I would like to make a motion that we approve the increase of the $3,000 to $38,144, so that there will be a lump sum of $5,000 versus the minimal base of $1,500.
I'll second that motion.
I have a move and a second. Any discussion or questions? I know this is a new law and it's a new program, so we're trying to get it implemented at this time.
Those guys do a lot, it's the least we can.
With no other discussion or questions, all in favor?
Aye.
None opposed, motion carries. And we'll get that processed as well. Next item on our agenda is to approve and accept a VOCA grant from Appalachian CASA. This is the Victims of Crimes Competitive Grant. It was applied for and has been approved for us to receive, if we approve to receive it, in the amount of $61,678. So first item in this particular section would be to approve the receipt of this grant. Do I have a motion to accept?
So moved.
I'll second.
Moving a second, any discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
With none opposed, that motion carries. Next item is to approve and accept the VOCA grant, district attorney. This is the district attorney's office. Wondering, did I skip a page here?
Signature.
Okay, so it's simply the signature letter. It's authorizing Angela Norris to be appointed to sign for Judicial Finance Office Grants Administrator Office on these particular receipt of documents and anything that's to be provided on that. So with that, do I have a motion that we authorize Angela Norris to sign as the Officer of Grants Administrator?
Make a motion that you sign the letter that authorizes Angela to sign.
I'm glad somebody else saw how confusing that was to get out.
I love government.
So, with a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion or questions? I probably have quite a few, but with no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is to approve and accept the VOCA grant district attorney. From the district attorney's office, that we have been able to receive a federal funds grant, $61,509, VOCA waived match funds of $15,377. This would be for the district attorney's office. This is why I got so confused. I was mixing two agenda items together as I was calling on the approval of the first one.
I retract my last motion.
I apologize. So this is a separate grant that would be available for receipt. And with that, do I have a motion that we accept the grant from VOCA?
So moved.
Second.
Moving a second. Any discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. We will accept the district attorney's grant. Next item on the agenda is one that we received. It's the one that we added to the agenda tonight, is to approve and accept the Georgia Opioid Crisis Abatement Trust Grant. This was something that we just recently got the email where we have the opportunity to receive that. If I'm not mistaken, Judge Weaver, did you have a couple words you wanted to say about that?
I did want to say something.
Okay.
As you know, this money is coming down from different companies that were required as part of a federal settlement because of the abuse of different opiates, including hydrocodone, Percocet, those types of medications. So this was a competitive grant. Monies were awarded to the state, and then it was required that we apply for that money, and it was very competitive. So what I wanted to say is two things. One, there is no cash match, but two, I wanted to really commend Angela Norris. She worked so hard on this grant, and not $1 was cut. And the reason it's amazing is because I also served and had to judge other grants throughout the state. And I can assure you that I cut most every grant that I reviewed because I've been doing grants for a long time. So I looked at them to make sure that for other areas of the North Georgia area that the money was needed because I've been dealing with accountability courts for a long time. So I had nothing, of course, to do with our grant. And so when we got the award and when I was notified by Commissioner Tanner that we were receiving the amount, and I said, well, how much were we cut? He said, you're not. I'm going, thank you, Angela, great job. But this money is being used to open an additional treatment center here in Pickens County. And it will be used to hire compliance officers and to provide medically assisted treatment for those individuals who, because of different addictions to different pain medications and or alcohol, need medication to assist them in helping to get rid of that addiction. So we are extremely excited about receiving this money. We think we can do a lot of good work. We are using what was known as the Hope House, working with the Rotary Club and the Hope House Foundation, and they are allowing us to use the top portion of that building for the new treatment center, which is now opened, and also the bottom section is now used for the new visitation center. So we are using that building. They wanted to make sure it was used because it had been paid for by so many of the citizens of Pickens County, and we're just glad that we're going to be able to use it to help parents get clean and sober so they can raise their own children. And I just wanted to commend Angela for the excellent work that she continues to do in applying for judicial grants so that we don't need to come to you also every so often to ask for money. So we'd rather get it from the big pill companies pharmaceutical companies that had to pay into a fund federally and the money that was given to the states. And more of that money will be coming down, and we will continue to look for any grants that we can apply for to reduce the amount of monies that we'll be asking Pickens County or Fannin or Gilmer to provide to the accountability courts.
And the amount of this grant is before we recognize Angela for her hard work, I figure it's good to actually give the dollar amount. This is a $499,000, $652 grant. I've picked on Angela over the last few years. I figured that she's owed an apology. So,
You made up for it. Where's Miranda?
So with that, after Judge Weaver just spoke, I dare one of you to not make the motion to accept it.
I'll make that motion right
With a motion in a second. Any discussion or questions that you guys have?
now. Great job.
With that, all in favor?
Aye.
None opposed. Motion carries. And accepted and received. Thank you very much. Next item is to look at our minutes. We have 3 sets of minutes. We have our regular meeting minutes, executive session minutes, and work session. The regular and executive are both from November the 18th. The work session minutes were from December 2nd, 2024. I know that these were provided by digital copy to each of you to have a chance to review prior to coming in here, and hopefully you've had a chance to look over those. And if so, I would like to ask for a motion that we approve all 3 minutes as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Minutes are approved. Next item on our agenda is the appointment of Mr. Casey Kuiper to the Pickens County DFACS Board. We had the term of Mr. TJ Keener, who has served on the DFACS Board for several years, has done a fantastic job, but his term has expired and he has asked that he have someone step in and replace his seat. Mr. Kuiper, Casey Kuiper, was recommended from the DFACS Board as a very involved individual. This term would be for a 5-year appointment ending December the 31st, 2029. With that, do I have a motion for the appointment of Mr. Kuiper to the DFACS Board?
So moved.
I'll second.
Any discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
With none opposed? Motion carries. Alright, next item is gonna be our rezones. We'll go through each one of these. The first rezone that we do have tonight is an application that was received from Ms. Rhonda Lane, RZ 190811. This is for 1303 Matthews Road. The request was to move a 10.52 acre tract from ag to rural residential on parcel 056011004. The application was received, a public hearing was conducted on November the 12th by the Planning Commission. The intended purpose of the rezone request, if approved, was to sell 4.26 acres of the tract and then maintain ownership of the remaining part. The Planning Commission voted 4 yes, 0 no to recommend the approval of the rezone request. With that, do I have a motion to follow the recommendation of the Planning Commission and recommend approval?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Move in a second. Any discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed. That rezone is approved. Next rezone request that we have is an application from Bailey Bozeman on behalf of Sean Bozeman, rezone RZ 190815, located at 2414 Highway 53 East. It's a request to move a 6.09 acre parcel from ag to rural residential. The intended purpose of the rezone request, if approved, was to split off a 1.5 acre portion of land to give to their daughter for a single family dwelling. The public hearing was conducted before the Planning Commission on November the 12th, where the vote was 4 yes, 0 no to recommend approval of the rezone request. With that, we have a motion that we follow the recommendation of the Planning Commission for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Move in a second. Any discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed? Motion carries. The next rezone request is a conditional use request. It's conditional use 190847 from Nadine Harrison. It's conditional use for a personal care home or hospice home on a 1.04 acre parcel, parcel 0433-120. The application was provided and the request was made for the location at 30 Arrowhead Lane. The intended purpose of the conditional use request, if approved, was to operate a 2-bed hospice care home within the applicant's current residence. The public hearing was held on November the 12th, where the Planning Commission voted 4 yes, 0 no to recommend approval of the conditional use request with staff conditions. Staff conditions included a maximum of 2 beds unless the applicant applies for a conditional use modification to accommodate more. No more than 1 sign allowed to advertise the business, and it must follow any sign laws and regulations that are established for the county, and applicant to work with staff on the signage request. Fire marshals to confirm access and safety requirements are met, and that the parking of the vehicles would not exceed the parking threshold on the property. With that, do I have a motion to accept the recommendation of the Planning Commission and recommend approval?
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed? Motion carries. Next is RZ 190848, application for Mr. David Walker Jr. at 787 Watson Lake Road. It's a request to move a portion of ag property to small ag, 16.84 acres from ag to small ag. It's a combination of parcels 037077002 and 037077003. The intended purpose of the rezone request, if approved, was to combine the parcels and build an additional single-family dwelling. The public hearing was held on November 12th, where the Planning Commission recommended 4 yes, 0 no, recommending approval. With that, do I have a motion to follow the recommendation of the Planning Commission for approval?
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion or questions? All in favor? None opposed? The last one that we will now move to is the one we had at the very beginning of the meeting. So our public hearing that we conducted on the downzone request. Downzone request was RZ 190855, Dan Poole on behalf of Poole's Farm, 7546 Highway 53 East, moving a 15-acre parcel from rural residential to agriculture. I know you guys conducted the public hearing, so we don't have a recommendation from the Planning Commission, but with that public hearing and with the information that was presented, do I have a recommendation or motion from the board?
Make a motion.
Motion to approve. Do I have a second?
No. Second.
And a second. Any discussion or question?
I always like making motions to downs.
Downzone. All right, with no questions, all in favor?
Aye.
None opposed, that motion carries. All right, at this time in the meeting is open for guest comments. I know we've had a long meeting, we've had a lot of swearing in, and everybody that got swore in, we sweated at the same time, and now we get to get swore at for the next 4 years. So, do I have any guest comments? No guest comments. Well, this is our final meeting of 2024, so I'm going to say it's been a very fast year. We've, I think, had a lot that we've had come through this room and this board has stood with. I want to thank you guys for your commitment to serve as we've gone through this year. I know we've got several department heads that are here. Thank y'all so much for what you've done to make this a successful year. And a couple of us have our spouses here, and they have put up with us for the last year. So I would like to say thank you, especially my wife, for putting up with me in this process, and my wife is as well. So, yes, sir.
Could I ask one question?
You
The opioid abatement grant, there's no match to that. She was talking about that that was currently going on in the Hope House, is that right? Did I get that right?
That's the facility that they're using. Yes, sir.
Is this going to help build another facility, or will it continue to be just that money go into upgrading where they're already at?
I think it's to fund the program that's in that facility. It's to make that facility usable and to staff it with the people to actually run
So
the.
it'll actually stay there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Chris, if I can. So pharmaceutical settlement companies that were sued federally have paid in, I think they're anticipating the state of Georgia will receive $18 million in the next 10 years. So it's open, anybody can apply. We went after and got the $499,000 award. Our award, there's a little over $300,000 that's for medically assisted treatment. It's for people that are addicted to opioid use disorder or other substance use disorders. That it'll pay for medications to help them with withdrawals, anxiety, shots, things like that helps with the withdrawals
Right.
of the opiates. We have 265 participants in our accountability courts that we serve. I think 40% of those are on MAT right now. MAT, medically assisted treatment, is very expensive. So a little over $300,000 of this grant will assist people with MAT. We rent that facility for $1,500 a month. Beginning the month of December, this grant will cover that $1,500 a month rent. So we don't have to put any public dollars into it at all. It'll also pay for a compliance officer to work 2 days a week with the people that that are receiving MAT to make sure they're compliant with all the program requirements. It will also pay for some housing for some participants for housing, so.
Yes, I was a graduate of the accountability court 16 years ago and have been clean 16 years, so I have a lot.
I need to talk to you.
Tony would be a wealth of knowledge and information for the program, so that.
We now pastor a church, my wife and I here in Jasper for the last 6, I don't know how long. God knows, I can't keep up. But is it for female residents only, and do we
No,
have?
so we have a contracted MOU with a nonprofit called Redemption Outreach. Redemption Outreach has a women's home that will hold 15 women. It's called the EG House, it's in LJ.
Yes.
And we have the men's home called the Depot that will hold 20 men. So we can serve 35 that have no support system in the community or are literally homeless.
We actually have one of those living in our home now.
Yeah, it will, this particular grant, a lot of times when they come into the accountability court programs, they're unemployed, and it may take them, based on their history, it may take them a little while to get a job. This will help pay the $145 a week, because when they stay at Redemption at one of the homes, it pays for housing, it pays for food, it pays for transportation, it pays for all of their living expenses. And so this grant, until they can get employed, or if they're on disability, or if they're out work, if they work at Burger King and don't have insurance and they're out sick for a week with COVID, this grant will pay for their housing.
Do you mind me just asking her one more question?
So if you don't mind, I know there's quite a few people wanting to leave. We can continue the conversation. I'm going to adjourn the meeting so that people can go, and then we can stick around and chat if you're okay with us.
Yes.
Anybody else that's here, or is there any more beyond just this topic? Because this one, we could probably go on for an hour or two.
Yeah, I don't have that much, I won't keep you that long.
And I want to make sure everybody else that's here has the ability to sneak on out, and that way we can adjourn and then we can continue that one, unless you've got more beyond that. If you had any other comments, we can.
I only have one more conversation, and this from Ms. Boone will do that.
Okay, all right. Very good then. All right, well, with that, I just want to say thank y'all. Merry Christmas to everybody. I hope you have an incredible Christmas time. We're looking forward to an exciting 2025. And do I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion, meeting is adjourned. Hang on, it's the end of the year. First time I've used it all year.